Welcome to the Take It Home podcast. The podcast so bad we really should just take it home. I am one of your hosts, Doc Simmons. You can find me on all social media at Doc Simmons 17. And I'm gonna go ahead and give the hot tag to my partner.
Sir, it's the outlaw Zack Hendricks. Find me on all social media brands at Z Hendricks brand. Or if you love me and Doc together, as always, look us up at Country Air Official for Facebook and Instagram, and look out that Country Air brand on Twitter. So now we'll give it to the monster of the group.
Yo, Gunner Wicks. You can find me on all the social medias at Gunner Wicks. Doc, is it too late to ask what the topic of today was?
How do you ask?
I'll take that as a yes.
Whoa. Doc sends the topic of the day, and you legit respond, "Hey, can we push the meeting up, our podcast up a little bit earlier today?"
I did do that.
Topic. So how do you not know the topic?
So sometimes, I just think about myself and I'm like, crap, I can't do it at that time, and just all the other information goes out the window.
Okay.
Well, after our senior official introduces himself, I'll go ahead and tell you the topic. It shouldn't take you that long to think of what it is.
I can work on the fly.
Yeah,
kind of.
It's an easy enough topic to work on the fly.
You just have to have a good memory.
Yeah, decent memory. I had to look it up. I had to look mine up because I wasn't 100% sure. But yes, let's go ahead and pass it on to our senior official for his introduction.
What's up, everybody? I'm Ref Perch. You can find me at PerchXLV, # for the Ref brand, and Belgian Waffles Take It Home podcast. Lots and lots and lots of waffles last week.
Yeah, lots of waffles the past couple of weeks for myself, being on the road. Continental
Waffle House
is the way to go.
We hit the Waffle
Hotel
House.
Waffles.
We hit Waffle House. We hit Hotel Waffles. We hit frozen waffles. We had them all. Waffles from all across the board. Gotta say, Waffle House does not disappoint.
I'm jealous.
Yes,
I've had 0 waffles.
I didn't have a waffle yet.
Really?
No, I woke up to Doc coming up with waffles. I went downstairs and they were closed.
I thought you were trying to get all skinny and sexy now.
Yeah, but
think
waffles are limited when you're thousands of miles away from home.
I think after I got done with one of the waffle irons, making it myself, they had to roll out the yellow tape and say, "Do not cross." I think I did one in.
You break it?
I think I may have done one in. It may have been in circulation the next day, but it was not for the rest of that day. Good waffles, though.
Used to say.
Yeah, good weekend. And we will certainly get to our weekends. We will get to our topic, which is for Gunner, the last live show we attended before we started training. So you'll have some time to think about that.
I think I know.
We will certainly get into WrestleMania. We will certainly get into the collective and all of our weekends. But first, let's get back to the banger of the week with Perch.
Man, this week's banger of the week was not hard to find because it came straight from the heart, straight from the soul, and it came from a moment that a few of us shared over the weekend. And the banger of the week comes from "Monster" by Eminem and Rihanna, killing it in that song. It happened to be on. We were walking along the beach. It was our final day before hopping on the airplane from Tampa Bay, St. Pete, back to Wisconsin. So that song came on as we were walking the beach and seeing the ocean. First time I've seen the ocean in 10 years. So it was good. Felt good for the mind, body, spirit. And that song hit, and it hit home.
As the resident monster of the podcast, I can confirm that song is a banger. Love it.
Yep. It just interesting situation of a gentleman with a speaker taking pictures of his stuffed poodles with Monster just playing in the background. Yeah.
Why though?
Why? I don't know. Living his best life, I suppose.
For moments like right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For our podcast, obviously. You saw a
Did
bunch
you guys drop in any photo bombs?
no, that's what we should have done.
No, but
Should've.
Dre did drop in Sir Mix-a-Lot at the right time.
It's like what that song, whatever song TikTok gave me ended up working. Baby Got Back would have been better. And I'm sure as fellow lovers of sea life, those girls were completely fine with me bringing up Baby Got Back at that moment.
It was a wonderful moment.
But yeah, hey, why don't we just jump into it since we're already started talking about it? Why don't we talk about our weekends? Let's go.
I'll go first.
Yep, let's go with Gunner first.
Because I did nothing. That was my weekend.
No, you dropped a pretty insane promo, I heard.
Oh crap! I completely forgot about that. Okay, I did do a thing this weekend. I did not wrestle. I don't think the promo itself is very insane. Wasn't a lot to it, but it did garner the reaction I was looking for. Yeah, so BCW this last weekend, Chucky was supposed to have a match against me. Could not work due to those hamstring reasons. That's been keeping me out of the game for a little bit. After his match, came down, cut a little promo, 4 or 5 sentences. Don't even remember what I said, but the crowd was there for it. And then I left, and my night was done.
Awesome. Like the Gunner face run is on its way.
It's off to a strong start. I'm quite pleased.
How many tracks coming? Very nice. And then the three of us flew out to Tampa for Wrestlemania Weekend and the collective and all of the shows that go on around that time. I'll talk about the first show. Me and Zack were at a joint show by Crab Wrestling and Flophouse. Crab Wrestling, I believe, is out of Maryland, and Flophouse is out of Indiana. Did a Royal. Shout out to those guys for giving literally just about everybody a chance. It's a special thing as wrestlers to be able to perform during WrestleMania weekend, and these guys basically said yes to everybody. Luckily, the locker room was big enough to house the amount of people that they had, but had ourselves a 20-man Royal. We came, showed what a tag team can do out there. The next day, I'll let my partner talk about.
Yeah, we next day we got to do we did the 2 shows we were originally booked for ZOH Alive, Wrestlemania. 2 shows, one at 8:30, one at 10:30. First show, we got to open up the entire show with Perch reffing us, but us versus a tag team called Controversial Inc. Really good tag team from Florida. We were doing our thing. Unfortunately, anytime there's a manager out there and Doc goes to the top rope, it's inevitable that his balls might meet that turnbuckle.
I don't know how I don't see it coming now.
Yeah, we gotta think of something else. Maybe you go to the second rope.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the second match, we took on Team Flophouse, the team that actually kind of gave us the opportunity in the Rumble. By thanking them, we did what we did best, and we whooped their asses. If Doc wants to go a little bit more on that.
Yeah, no, another hard-hitting match as you would expect from 2 Midwestern teams. Lots of shots to the face all around. But those guys, they were tough. But eventually we pulled out the Air Buddies for the win. Shout out to ZOH and everybody at ZOH Alive for having us. It was an awesome time.
ZOH is trying to rebuild the tag division, and would definitely want to be a part of that rebuild when it rebuilds. And it was nice to be like a tag team he brought out to Tampa to show out.
Yeah, yes, we are very very happy and proud to be a part of that. Then was well, whatever. The next show that we appeared at would have been.
Oh, no. Yeah, you go. My bad.
No problem. Yep. No Peace Underground. They had a no ring show. Shout out to JJ Garrett for helping us get in there, and shout out to
Charlie.
Charlie, Carly, Kara, Charles.
Yeah, Carly, but she goes by Charles.
Yeah.
Carly.
Yeah. Shout out to her for being so welcoming and letting us be a part of that. That was an awesome time. Ended up meeting up with the ZOH guys there. So it was just good weekend all around. And then you can talk about the last day. But don't go into it so too much, because I'm sure we'll talk about it when we talk about what we watched.
All right. Last day, it was a day of relaxing. I slept in the fort like a grown man should. And we met up a man that we met at the first collective, a guy that I didn't really talk to as much, but Perch and Doc got to hang out with more. Juicy with Chicago Rob and everyone. And we were able to experience Wrestlemania live, night 2 of it. And all I can say is, like, from my understanding, I heard a lot of people saying, like, from watching it, it was good. They liked the show, but I don't think, like, being there, the crowd was just super hot. It was like, pro wrestling is back. Live pro wrestling is back with major promotions. And it was definitely a cool feeling to be in a WWE, to be at WrestleMania in a live crowd.
Yeah, it was a good time. Great to meet up with Juicy. He's been killing it over there at GCW lately. Shout out to all of his homies. Shout out to Chicago Rob being with us and being the homie the whole weekend. Yeah, much love to him. It was just good time all around. And lastly, we'll pass it off to the MVP of the weekend, Mr. Marathon, Perch. Why don't you talk about what you did?
Man, I was so excited for this weekend for the main reason, just having an outlet to get the passion for pro wrestling out. For all of us who have been wanting to work, and for all the fans who've been wanting to watch wrestling, this WrestleMania weekend represented a big part of history for professional wrestling, and really what we see today. The era was stopped, and there was no WrestleMania weekend last year, plain and simple. So to be a part of it this year was very powerful. There was more than just a tangible feeling. It was a feeling in the air, unlike anything else. Being surrounded by other individuals who pro wrestling brought them to Tampa Bay. You could feel the buzz in the air from the airplane out there to every day spent in Tampa, all the way to the plane ride back. But yeah, but to kick off the weekend was pretty wonderful. Got down there Wednesday night and decided I want to learn and be surrounded by the GCW collective. So I went in Wednesday night and met with some people and got the word to be back in the morning. So I came back in the morning and dedicated myself to working with them. With that, I met a few of the referees and introduced me to every referee there. The GCW referees are guys who I've looked up to for a long time, especially in our industry and in a role that I take very serious. It's some of the best talent, in the country for sure, if not in the world. So I was blessed to meet a handful of those guys at the collective that we went along for in Indianapolis, and was grateful enough to be on a few shows then. So meeting those guys this time around, they were open and receptive to allowing me to be a student through the weekend, and with that, I was able to watch everything, take notes, pick all their brains, and learn everything. Long story short, they gave me an opportunity night 1 to suit up and have a run-in for the Josh Barnett Bloodsport 6 show. So as a fan, I'm completely jacked for this event. As a hard worker, I'm ready to do anything that has to be done. And yeah, it was a run-in with all the referees pulling off Schlack and Super Beast. So if you can imagine running out through the curtain in the midst of a huge crowd for a pull apart
fight between Godzilla and Kong.
I mean, it's just as wild and crazy as you could expect, and I made sure to soak it all in and to enjoy that moment to the fullest, and made the most out of it, and from that, the guys said, things went well, and they said, if there's anything else we can find for you, we'll find it. So needless to say, ended up working on about 5 or 6 of the 12 shows for the collective. Made it onto the Acid Cup 3, which was pretty cool. Really enjoyed that. Good history for that tournament too. So to be a part of it was meaningful. Was part of the Effie Big Gay Brunch show, which was wild. I had a few matches in there. Edith Surreal against Devin Monroe was a banger of a match. Definitely worth checking out.
Shout out to Devin. He did really do well in over the weekend as well. Maybe a little bit under the radar as far as some of the other guys have gone, but he had a pretty full weekend himself and showed out.
Didn't he if I'm not mistaken, was he only booked on one show and ended up getting on 2 or 3 more because of that booking, because of how well he did?
Yep, that's another guy that's putting in a lot of work from the Midwest. If you haven't checked him out, please do.
Yeah, everybody. It was great to see a phenomenal crew out there, people we know from our travels. And yeah, the Minnesota crew was great. We've definitely known those guys throughout the years and gotten a chance to grow right along with them. So to see them using their talents in a place like Wrestlemania Weekend, right alongside us, who's trying to get opportunities to use our talents at the biggest weekend. So yeah, it was great, and to have a match with those guys was wonderful. And then Unsanctioned Pro was another one we had out there, and that was great. But yeah, like you said, Friday night went to Zawa and had 2 shows there. Got to referee you guys, so right in the midst of the chaotic weekend, it was like, all right, time to meet up with the homies and do a show with a home promotion here, and that couldn't have been more fun. I had the blue shirt and the bow tie all ready to use. It's like, hey Dre, before you go, I'm picking up that shirt. I have it hanging up in the closet. Like, oh yeah, sure, I'll grab it. Shit, we only used the pinstripes. Brought that thing for nothing. Always be prepared. As a referee, always be prepared.
Hey, you having your black polo was what you needed for GC Dub.
Oh yeah, got about 6 pairs of pants, and I made sure I picked up a nice, fresh black polo right before heading down, just in case the occasion came up. And sure enough, it did. Sure enough, it did. That's why with that run-in with Schlack, tried not to hug him too hard.
Like, I'm thinking I'd only get one chance.
A lot of arms, a lot of hands, a lot of long distance hugging.
Thinking I'd get one chance on the last day.
But one of the wildest things about the whole collective was there's 12 shows. They had 4 shows each day. They were 2 shows into the final day, and it started downpouring. And the executive decision was tearing down the ring, rebuilding it upstairs inside the venue, which was up a fire escape. So just like pro wrestlers do, and all of us who are students of the game, we will work thanklessly and tirelessly to make sure that the show goes on. So it's exactly what we did. No questions asked. Everyone in the pouring rain, tearing down that monstrous ring, bringing it up that fire escape and setting it up upstairs for one final show that used the ring. The last one was downstairs, as you guys mentioned.
Yeah.
But it led to just an awesome environment for a show that was unlike any other show throughout the weekend. Through hard work comes great reward, and to see that show and to even be a part of it was a great feeling, a great rewarding feeling for the hard work everyone put in. So stay tuned for lots of pictures and lots of stuff. Then we hit up the Matt Seidel dojo on Sunday, which was pretty cool. I did a couple of camp matches, and yeah, I got some good direct feedback. He was my bell ringer for a couple of matches, and and made sure I complimented. I appreciate a good bell ringer, and Matt Seidel was on his game that day.
That's another one of those thankless jobs where nobody should know you exist, but once you mess up, nobody forgets.
Yep, those who get it know it.
Yeah.
But no, needless to say, just a great weekend, very fulfilling, rewarding, lot of hard work. We were putting in 21, 22-hour days, 3-4 days in a row, but couldn't have been happier to do it with a big old smile every day, and had the big homies there, and lots of love and support. A few people from Wisconsin we saw out there, and hearing random, Perch hollering. And
Yeah, good to see Rico out there.
yeah, seeing Rico and eating at El Pollo Tropical.
Yeah,
He took me to, and just some good food, great times, great vibes. Good to have that island mind state here in the Midwest, and it's also good to go out to the island just to soak it up. And shout out to Big Juicy, just a good brother all the way around. It was so good to see him again.
Yep, A1 since day one.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and we can go ahead since you had such a busy weekend and rested Sunday. We could talk about what we watched, which I know for most of us was WrestleMania. WrestleMania 37 this past weekend, like me and Zack said, we got to be there for the last day, but we did watch the first night at home. I thought it was a good show overall. Cesaro Rollins, great match. Asuka Rhea, great match, though I hate the result. I think both main events were proper main events. I have no real complaints about the show. I mean, yeah, the Fiend, Randy Orton thing was weird, but I think it was good all around.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, overall, great experience. One of those. I heard night one from like what I heard from friends back home was better than night two. I can't compete because night two for me and Doc, listening to Doc call everyone who started yelling, "Let's go, Rhea," and Doc turned around and said, "Hey, you better shut your mouth."
Yeah.
Just overall great time. I appreciate Kevin Owens. Every year a new KO Mania shirt.
Mm-hmm.
Small little things like that. Super appreciated. A funny story about Mania. So Doc and I go to Mania with Juicy and Chicago Rob and all them. These guys hit us up later, like right before, as the main event's going, like, "Hey, we're gonna bounce, like, so we can make the shuttle," because we took a shuttle there. And they said shuttles don't go past 11:30, and like, "You guys want to come with us?" And we were invested in the main event. We wanted to see how Roman, Edge, and Brian would go. So we told them, "No, we won't. Like, we'll just find our own way home." After the match, we're walking. We bump into some guys we rode the shuttle with. They end up saying, "Hey, I'm gonna call the shuttle for us. Shuttle's on its way." Cool. So everyone's in the shuttle. Everyone's talking about Mania. Everyone in the shuttle is talking about Mania. We stop at this light on the way home. And lo and behold, there's Chicago Rob, Juicy, and the boys all walking because they couldn't find a shuttle. And you hear Juicy yo, "You all going to the Marriott?" And like, yeah, they all come in. They're like, "What are you guys doing here?" And it was just funny because like, so we had to miss the main event and we still caught up to you guys.
Yep.
It was great.
Bad decisions. Bet on wrestling, guys. Bet on wrestling.
Oh, yeah.
Always. Always trust your gut and bet on wrestling.
Yep. It was good.
Gunnar, what was your thoughts on Mania?
Yeah, I think night one was definitely better than night two. I like both of them though. Both nights I thought were solid. Let's see. The main event of night one I thought was the best match out of everything. Obviously a historic moment, but even without all that like context to it, just the match itself was really good. I did not expect Lashley to retain the title. I was like 100% certain Drew was going to win, so that kind of shocked me when he didn't. But yeah, otherwise, like all around, I thought it was a really great show, and definitely amazing to have fans back.
Yeah, it's real dope to have fans back. I think it's funny because I think Mav shot a message out to the group saying they have to be pumping noise in. Like, there's no way Tamina is this over. Like,
Oh, Tamina Snuka was super over.
yeah, the crowd was hot. The crowd was
Yeah, dude.
So I was saying like because sometimes I'm not the biggest fan of Nia Jax. I don't know if you guys are, but I'll give Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler their due because they were able to generate enough heat where a heel tag team who won the gauntlet match came out and were baby faces. And isn't that like the art of wrestling? Like being able to do that and turn a heel into a baby face because you're that good as a heel.
yeah. Go you wrestle for the show, not for yourself. And for the show in that point, they were supposed to be the bigger heels and put the lesser heels over as faces, and they did.
Also, one of my favorite moments of the night was that bro kick.
Yeah. Yeah, Matt Riddle, Sheamus tore it down. I think that was the match where there were some technical difficulties going on at the venue, or so we couldn't see it that well. But
I don't know if you heard the chant, the crowd yell, "We can't see shit, we can't see shit," and like the reason why they yelled that is because all the screens like around the arena went out.
yeah, so yeah, that match had some technical difficulties, but it did come through in that finish, and that's what really mattered.
The one thing I can't complain about is a lot of the matches finished the way I was hoping they would. Like I did not expect Big E to drop the belt, but I was hoping he would drop the belt. We were in the hotel room. I think we were on our way to No Peace, and I turned on the Mania, and I told you, you even said, Doc, like Gunnar said, we all expected Drew McIntyre to get the WrestleMania moment. It didn't happen. Bianca Belair winning. We were at the Collective. You could tell we were on a little bit of a delay with Mania because it sounded like a thunderstorm, but it's just fireworks going off. And Doc looked, he's like, "Oh, he's like, this match is about to end because the fireworks are already going off." And sure enough, Bianca goes over.
Yep.
I think WWE has all heel champions right now except for Bianca, which is interesting.
Did anyone watch NXT last night?
No, I want to watch.
Oh yeah, so
I heard. I imagine
yeah.
the match with Kushida and Escobar is probably pretty good.
Yeah, but apparently they had like Rhea, Bianca, and Raquel all come out and like stand in the center holding up their belts, like super baby face.
Yep.
I'm not a fan of that. I get the moment, but not a fan of the moment.
Well, I have a feeling. I do think Raquel's probably about to go face, actually.
And I guess Rhea was a face beforehand.
And Rhea was a face. He was just kind of the heel for this match.
Yes, the aggressor. Yeah, that's fair.
Which, was weak because she didn't really cheat. And then,
You
Bianca.
don't have to cheat to beat Asuka. Asuka ain't that good.
Whatever. Right? Bunch of lies. You sit on a throne of lies and smell of beef and cheese. All right. Gonna get her revenge against Charlotte first. Hate that WrestleMania.
No. Charlotte's Asuka's there, and she's about to have the same record as Sasha. Poor Sasha, 0-6 at Mania.
Yeah.
It's impressive.
I think Asuka hasn't won a match at Mania either. Maybe they can have the streaks go up against each other. One streak must end.
Oh yeah, because they did drop the tag titles to Shada, and that was at Mania, right? God.
Maybe the Kabuki Warriors dropping the belts. Maybe. I know she lost her undefeated streak at Mania to Charlotte.
Yeah, which was stupid, but talk about that at another time.
I'm just saying, like, I think that unless I'm wrong, I don't think Asuka's won a match at Mania either.
Very possible.
You know who's undefeated at Mania though? Rob Van.
Yep.
That came out abruptly. Rob Van Dam's undefeated. That was a little fun fact we heard at Frontline.
So is Vicky Guerrero.
Hell yeah.
And Michael Cole.
Gunnar Wicks.
Yes.
God. Wait, Michael Cole beat Larry?
Yeah.
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 He's 1-0.
God damn.
Yo, something that was funny at Mania. So we were watching the Hall of Fame and like they had the commercial going on. And whoever the graphic guy was, you could tell like all the graphics were wrong. And we were watching them fix the graphic on the screen.
Really?
Originally, they had Great Khali and Molly Holly up front.
I didn't know they could edit that stuff on the fly.
Yeah, they were just like you just see the names switching. I found that entertaining.
Yeah. Good. What? Anybody else have anything else to speak about WrestleMania?
Oh yeah, the one match I did get to enjoy through the entire thing. I caught the entrances as they were happening, and they were wonderful. But I sat Dre down one morning, cup of coffee, and said, "Tell me the story of Asuka versus Rhea." and yeah, you told me the most wonderful, in-depth play-by-play of how it went. And that was the one WrestleMania match I got to enjoy, and it was a wonderful way to do so. And we get to enjoy wrestling through so many different ways of media, whether you watch the match, watch the show, watch the clips, read about it. One of my favorite ways to take it in is to hear a legitimate recollection from someone, in this case, who was actually there and watched it live. So that was the match that I got to enjoy, and couldn't be more thankful to have enjoyed it. Didn't see that ending coming either.
Yeah, I mean, it was slick. It was slick. I can't be too upset. Good finish. Lots of good finishes all around in WrestleMania this week. Oh, no complaints on that front. But if we are done with that, why don't we talk about our last live show we attended before we started training? I'd be very interested to hear Gunners, because I think Gunners is the only one I don't know.
Really?
Yeah.
I think I don't remember the year. I think it was 2018 TLC in Minneapolis. The first match was like the Shield, where Kurt Angle subbed in as one of the members. First, I don't even remember who, but that was like a TLC match. Another match that sticks out was my favorite match, because I'm a big fan of both dudes, and kind of a Bullet Club mark. Finn Balor versus AJ Styles. They had like that whole debacle in like, I forgot where they were, Saudi or Australia or something, where like superstars couldn't make it home and like half the card got mixed up.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, last second they had Finn against Styles, and that was a great match. And then they did the whole Too Sweet at the end. Nerded out so hard. It was amazing.
Awesome. This is a very lucky one.
Yeah. Those are the only two matches I remember from that night. So I don't know if the rest were just not that great, but yeah, that moment for sure definitely like is implanted in my brain.
Okay. Let's go with Zack.
I think you guys all know the live show I went to before I started training.
Yep.
This kind of was the one that stuck the fire. That was like, I could do this. I went to All In Live, the first ever All In before they were AEW. I was there live, and I think what really taught I was like just the atmosphere and all that. Watching a lot of guys I've never seen before, like Marco Stunt, all they're doing what they wanted to do, and that kind of was like the last straw for me. I was like, I need to do this. But matches that stuck out to me were, of course, I talked about it again, Cody Rhodes versus Nick Aldis. Everyone like had that feeling Cody was going over, but it was a shock. It was shocked how it happened. What else? You could definitely tell, like, even like as a fan, you could tell that Marty and Okada was going like long. So that was a match that was definitely, you could tell a lot of people like take it home. And because of that, the main event, the Young Bucks on their match was like really great. Like if you're a guy who likes like a lot of spots and like fast paced wrestling, then that was like a match for you. But it was also rushed because you could tell they were trying to get those spots in, and they were trying to make it before the All In pay-per-view went out, which I think they did not make it in time. But I got to be there live, so that was cool to watch that.
Okay.
And then yeah, I mean Omega versus Pentagon was sick as hell too. Like
Yeah.
Penta doing his finish to Omega on the apron was it was all great matches. Joe, yeah, everything was great.
All right. Let's go with Perch, and I'll bring it home.
Man, I'll never forget it. It was Rise to Honor 14, Knights of Columbus, West Allis, Wisconsin. Historic venue. A lot of people have come through that building. It is no more, unfortunately. But we were at the last shows from the inside of the business. But this was 2018, January. And I think just like anything with wrestling, you'd get flyers and you'd see a leaflet or a concubine or a little mini flyer that says, wrestling. And I'd seen one for Brew City Wrestling at a big anniversary show. And I was intrigued. It's like, oh yeah, I want to go to this. I want to enjoy it. And so I hit up one of my good family friends, and we went. He's not necessarily the biggest wrestling fan. We've never really talked about it, but he's always up for a good time. And oh man, we had an absolute blast. And classic, tailgating in the parking lot beforehand. Getting all amped up to see some pro wrestling. And the franchise was on the show. Shane Douglas against Dysfunction. I remember that was the big match that I was hyped for. Dysfunction being, the Milwaukee home guy. I mean, gotta love him. And the franchise, well, for me at the time, that's enough to be like, oh my God, dude, we got ECW legend here. This is gonna be great, especially as we were tailgating. And yeah, the show went on. There ended up being a big cage match as well. It was just a great show overall. We couldn't have been more into it. And I went to my buddy who I was with, and I said, hey, see that guy over there? And it was a gentleman who was tightening the ropes, and he was tightening the cable on the bottom of the ring. And I said, yeah, see that guy over there? And my friend says, yeah. I'm like, it's going to be me one day. And I'm going to know what that guy does and how to do it. And I'm going to be in his spot, looking back at the seat I'm sitting in right now, and have a smile moment. And then my friend took it in. He's like, yeah, you damn right you will. Damn right. And so yeah, that match was, or that show was one I'll always remember. I linked up with Brew City Wrestling and started training the next week. Found out they had a training school, and I was at a part of my life where I was absolutely ready for it. Me going to the show and enjoying it also had some of me scouting it out to see if this is an avenue and a joint that I want to be a part of. And I realized it was a family atmosphere from the start. So that was the last show that I was there just as a fan. And I went to train that week. And then by that Saturday, they said, hey, come by this venue. and help out. And I was handed a security shirt, and I can still picture the glow on my face. Just the beyond thrilled. Words can't express the joy of when I was handed that security shirt, and just taking in the moment of last weekend. I was here as a fan, and at the doorstep of entering the business, and this weekend I'm standing guard as a security guy inside the business. So yeah, very impactful, very meaningful. I'll never forget that show. That was a banger. And by the end of it, we, we loved it. This is the one where I was a fan. By the end of it, the cage was still up, and we walked up to it. I'm like, man, I think I'm gonna hop in. So I hopped in, and someone's like, hey, get out of there. Oh, yep, sorry. I hopped out real quick. And yeah, I've been on guard every time I've been.
Ruined my time.
That was great.
Has anybody else been to a BCW show or any of the other like local indie shows that we work before they got in?
Well, my last show before I joined was one that Perch works at. And that was
beautiful segue. Let's hear it.
Yeah, so my last show before I joined was actually an AAW show. I had to pull it up. AAW No Prisoners.
Ooh, yeah. Was that the
Day of Defiance? Day of Defiance back in. So actually, it was. I went to the show like maybe a week or two into training because I had bought the ticket before I started training, but last tickets I bought as a fan. Went with one of my co-workers who I worked with a couple people who were wrestling fans. So me and him, we went in, got some tickets to check out AEW. I had been to a couple shows before when they were down in LaSalle. It was the last year they were in LaSalle. So all the shows there were hype. I went and actually found the card.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this.
Yeah. Let's hear it.
Because I was like reading it, I was like, oh, I do remember these matches. And the match that stuck out the most from that era was Scarlett Bordeaux versus Shotzi Blackheart. Two WWE NXT talents right now. That was my I had seen Scarlett Bordeaux a couple times in AEW. This is my first time seeing Shotzi, and I just remember falling in love immediately. And I thought she had like some crazy submissions that she was doing that day. It was really awesome. There was also Kurt Stallion versus Stephen Wolf versus Bucky Collins versus Hakeem Zane versus Space Monkey. I do remember this was my first time seeing Hakeem Zane, and him being just so fast, like so much faster than the other guys. Stephen Wolf, I do remember he was starting to come up like at this point. Seen him a couple of times. Kurt Stallion, seen him a couple of times there, and he used to do a lot more headbutts than he does now at this time. Trios tag match. Dante Leone, Sage Kanan, Mike Hartenbauer versus Jake Something, Brew Baker, and Connor Braxton. Guys we've been on a bunch of shows with now, and guys we work with. I do remember Brew Baker being one of my favorite heels there at AEW at the time. My girl hated him. Singles match, Ray Phoenix versus Trey Miguel. I do remember that was big. I vividly remember Miguel's entrance, and I want to say it was the last show when I was like, oh man, this guy is that dude. Because the show before this, it was him versus Myron Reed. And there's a spot where Reed's to the outside, and like he's in front of us, and Trey sets up for a dive. And I can just feel it. And I'm like, oh God, Myron's gonna move, isn't he? Trey's just gonna land in all this crowd, isn't he? And I just start pulling my girl and move. And sure enough, Trey goes for the dive, Myron moves and just wipes out all these chairs. Like, screw that.
That's a great atmosphere they create.
Yeah. Laredo Kid versus Zema Ion. Now known as, oh God, what is his name in NXT? He's with Legado del Fantasma.
Mm.
Oh God. Formerly known as DJZ, but I can't remember his NXT name right now. That was a banger of a match. Moose versus Brody King. Brody King being somebody me and Perch have got a chance to do roles with. So shout out to him.
Never forget the notes taken from him. That's a very large man, and he commands a very large presence. Yep. Nicest guy too. And
yep. Nice guy. And Moose, somebody that we've had a chance to be on around at Warrior Wrestling.
Yeah. When he was the so self-proclaimed Impact champion.
Yeah. Sadly lost it to Swan in that banger of a match.
Yeah, good.
Ace Romero versus MJF in a dog collar chain match. I do remember this match. This was one of those, like, once I ran, I was like, oh, I remember this one. This one was brutal. This was a good one. Tag team championship match. Besties in the world versus AR Fox and Myron Reed. And an AAW Heritage Championship match. Trevor Lee versus Paco. And yes, brought back memories. Like, I remember this was Paco is AAW like through and through. He is like that is that type of baby face you want in a company. And I remember like this was that time when they like Paco's that dude.
Oh yeah, we've heard several eruptions, especially at Logan Square for Paco coming through. That place, that city, that town, they just love him.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was the last show that I at least had bought tickets for. I had already, I was already in training by that time. I had already made the decision that I was still just a fan, and now that I'm in it and looking at this card, it's like, man, I've had a chance to work against some of these people, work with some of these people, share locker rooms with these people. It's been a wild 3-ish years.
Yeah, that really is. To think about that and how far we've come in those few times.
Yeah.
Never losing sight on the fact of why we got into the business, because that's at the heart of it. We're still the same people. We just know a little bit more about how to give back to the wrestling community and entertain for the fans.
Yeah. That's wild.
Can I tell a little story?
Go ahead, Gunner.
So I attended a BCW show back in the day before I got in. And I believe, I might be wrong, I think it was like the summer of 2017. They came to Waupun, Wisconsin, which is where I'm from. And I think there was like maybe 10 or 12 people in the crowd. I was one of them. I remember just like watching everybody, and I think that might have been like my first ever like live show too, like of any kind, pro wrestling, and being able to sit like ringside and see it up close was like a new experience and really cool, because way better than watching it on TV, and also a completely different vibe from like WWE stuff. But I think, Doc, you were security that day. I remember seeing.
If it was 2017, it wasn't me.
Maybe it was 2018.
Possibly. I don't know where Waupun is. I did do a lot of security that time.
I remember just seeing like a short dude and thinking like, man, that guy's security, good for him. So I think that was you. I remember, I remember Chucky wrestled, and I thought he was like legit a crazy man, and come to find out he is legit a crazy man. Sierra wrestled that show. I don't remember who she was against. Sean Priest wrestled. He sprinkled some of his holy water on me. I remember that. Who else was on?
Oh, okay. I remember this show now.
Bruiser was the main event.
There's
He,
only one.
spit
If Chucky was wrestling, I was definitely doing security, and there's only one show I remember where Priest broke out the Priest gimmick. So I do remember the show.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep, those are a couple of very key elements right there. Yep, because Chucky wrestling, Priest with the
I believe.
Priest gimmick. Yep.
I believe Tyler was the ice cream man, or someone was the ice cream man.
Tyler,
Maybe it wasn't Tyler. Someone was.
He was the ice
And
cream man a couple more times after I started.
Okay, and he ended up winning like the battle royal at the end. Who else was on that show? Oh, I think Bax was managing Chucky.
Yeah, Baxter would have been. Caribbeans, I believe, were on that show.
And I thought he was pretty creepy at the time as well. But now knowing that he's just a flamboyant White Claw drinking old man, that's quite a revelation.
Yep, he's still creepy. Still creepy.
Sometimes, yep.
Your suspicions have been founded.
I remember watching that show, and at the end, I was thinking like, because on the ringside curtain, they had the little like Thumper's Den logo for training, and being a big fan, I was like, huh. And then watching everybody else, I was like, man, if they can do it, I think I can do it. Even though I was like 100 pounds heavier at the time, pretty out of shape. I was pretty determined to get in the business. And then once I got in, I remember thinking like, oh man, I definitely cannot do this, but but I'm gonna try. And try I did. And now here we are.
Hey.
Mm-hmm. Now you're that guy in the ring looking out at the people outside the ring.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is still crazy when I think about it.
It is. It is.
Wow. All right. Lots of history. And life comes full circle things right there. Why don't we go to our last segment if Gunnar actually has a question?
What about
I do.
this weekend?
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, let's talk about what we're doing this weekend first. I totally forgot about that. Good save. Good save.
I'm here for you.
I'll go first, I guess. This weekend, at Northside Barbecue down in Oregon, Illinois, I will be up against Bucky Collins trying to get my Fireweight Championship back for ZOH Alive. It will also have a stand-up comedy show before that, and it will be an adult wrestling show after the comedy show. So be prepared. Be very ECW-ish. Probably not, but there's probably more.
I was thinking the other kind of adult. Thought you were going to get naked and wrestle for a second.
It's like very possible. Very possible. It's like,
Is it 2 shows?
I believe it's 2 shows. So I think my championship match is on the first show, and depending on how that goes, will determine if I wrestle naked on the second show.
Yes.
So
if you do wrestle naked, make sure your balls do not get caught on the rope.
yes, it would seem to be very important, just having my balls not get caught in anything. So
that is of utmost importance.
like,
correct.
Like, we'll be going to the top rope for a double stomp. And then Sunday I'll be joining the boys out in Weston. This one is Lucha-Mania, right?
Waupun, I think.
So Saturday and Sunday for myself and another host of this, since Doc's touching on it, we will be traveling with Brew City Wrestling for a 2-day show, Lucha-Mania. Not sure what I'm doing Saturday since my lovely tag partner might be wrestling naked down in Oregon, but I'm pretty sure I'll be busting someone's jaw. Maybe it's a referee, maybe not. Who cares? Just here to wrestle.
And I'll be in Oshkosh for ACW Wrestling Con. Going to be a big show on Saturday. Yeah, I believe it's sold out, so I'd say get your tickets, but stay tuned. There'll be some good pictures and good highlights of the event. I believe one of the matches I'm jacked for is Stacy Shadows and Sierra and Tennille Dashwood in a triple threat Texas tornado. Just a good old fashioned 3-person match. Yeah, if I'm not reffing it, I will be watching it. I'm thrilled. And then Sunday, we go down to Chicago for a little lucha wrestling. So I'm looking forward to the culture difference, and especially trying to learn the language a little bit more too. So through interpreters, as well as people who are very helpful. I've been able to get some experience working with some lucha companies and learning a little bit of the culture, which is what I'm looking to do moving forward. So a couple of big shows. Stay tuned. Lots of picks.
I mean, we slightly talked about what you're doing, Gunnar. Did you want to expand on it at all?
Am I muted?
No, you're talking now.
Oh, sweet. No, not really. I'm also going to be there for both days and looking to beat up some luchadors.
Yeah, you like to pick on small people.
Yes, I do. Can't deny it.
And one other thing is AAW 6 o'clock, 6:30 on Twitch on Saturday. They're doing the TV tapings, airing them. So 6:30 this weekend on Twitch, AAW.
Yep, check America's favorite referee, Perch, doing his thing, laying down the law.
Hey, Perch, are you watching AEW right now or no?
Yeah, currently in the background.
I heard that guy, Doc brought him up last podcast. Cole Carter was on tonight, right?
Oh yeah.
So that's 3 nights in a row. Shout out to, I don't know Cole Carter. Perch, I don't know if Perch knows him. I know Perch has been shows on with him and Doc, but AEW Elevation, AEW Dark, and then AEW tonight. Like, I know the guy's in his first year, so I'm gonna give credit where credit's due. Congratulations to Cole Carter for that.
Good build. He's got that classic babyface look. He's what you're looking for. He's his first year, but he is doing well. And putting in the work. I mean, like I see him on posters for other companies, so he is making the rounds. He's not sitting on his laurels. He's on the road all the time, so don't think he was just handed anything. He's putting in the work. Shout out to him.
And one of the other thrills was, so I get back from the whole trip and everything, and last night sit down eating dinner with Pops and sit down, was like, oh yeah, there was one match we have to see. So flip on the tube and the old YouTube channel, which is just as easy as flipping on Fox, and watch some AEW Elevation, and saw Sky Blue against the Dentist. Good old Dr. Britt Baker.
Yep.
That was pretty damn sweet.
Yeah. Shout out to Sky. I caught some of the match, caught some of the highlights, but yeah, showing up on AEW this week. I believe she will be on NWA Power next week.
And I caught her in the collective as well one of the days. It may have been the Alley Cat show, but I was on a show with her earlier in the collective as well. So it was good to see her briefly.
Yep. That's another girl. Another homie coming up, making waves. So please do follow her and give her all her support. Another one that's been,
one of the best female wrestlers in the Midwest.
Yep. And somebody else who's been putting in the work and been on the road and been on that grind and is getting the success she deserves.
Oh yeah.
Always good to see.
Well, Gunnar, I saved you some time talking about our weekend. Hopefully you came up with a question by now.
I do have a question. It's something that I've been thinking earlier this week, and I thought I should pose it to you guys as well. If you were not in the business and were just a fan, who do you think you would be the biggest fan of on the local indie scene? I'll go first because I thought about this and I have an answer. I think even though I hate Chucky at the moment, I think I'd be a big fan of his because like I said before, when I first saw him, his character came across very well, and he's a legit weird dude, and also can get it done in the ring, except for when it is against me. So I think I'd be a big fan of his, along with Dis too. I like all the stuff he does, especially at ICW. I do like watching like hardcore deathmatch type wrestling. I don't know how much I like participating in it, but I do like watching it. And yeah, he's the best of the best when it comes to that stuff.
All right. I'd have to go Drake Daniels, mostly for his ICW promos.
Yes, his promos are fire.
And the fact that he understands he's just like an 80s high school villain, which I find hilarious.
And does it well too.
Yeah, he does it well, you know, commits to the horrible hair and brightly colored singlet. Very strong like bull, just throws people around, which is something I do enjoy watching. So I'd probably be a Drake Daniels big fan.
I have to take this one and use creative justice to it, because just as I am a fan of the Death Triangle, my answer is a triangle. Couldn't have one without the other, and hands down, there's a lot of favorites, but the triangle would come down to these three: Stacy Shadows, Dysfunction, Sierra. Those three, hands down, as a Milwaukee guy myself, and from Hog Alley in Oconomowoc growing up, in West Allis with bowling alleys and everything, deep rooted in this area. So whenever those three, who kick ass better than anyone, come to the arena and they're ready to kick someone's ass, it's the blood gets flowing, and those are my three, hands down. And honestly, there's times as a referee, during the entrances, I do my best to be a statue, but I am just as much a fan as everybody else in that arena. And I take it in during the entrances, so I still get to experience Sierra, Dysfunction, and Stacy Shadows entrances as a fan every time. Love it.
I think I'd be a Doc Simmons fan, because I think that's what you're obligated to say when you join a life partnership and you're supposed to make the other one feel good.
If I don't wrestle, you don't wrestle.
Shots fired.
Anyway, no, I think if I was just going on the indie scene, I would be, wrestling wise, a fan of two guys. Joey Avalon, of course, just the presence alone. Like, when I broke into the business, going to the training facility, he always stuck out to me on the poster. Joey, just, he has that look to him that he is a star. And I mean, just, there's times where I watch his matches now and I'm like, holy hell, like the stuff he does. And when I have the opportunities, I hear I'm wrestling against them, I'm like pumped. So I think just knowing the capabilities of Joey, if I wasn't in the business, I would be a huge fan of him. And the other one would be the Marman, Mario Cravella. The shit he says like would pop. I think I'd be laughing like, I was a big fan of the Saw dude, and just him being like, "You're going down, dude." I'd be a big fan of that dude. Like, this guy's great. I'm a big Marman fan now, so I think just if I wasn't, I'd be a bigger Marman fan.
All right. Yeah. I do. Side note on Marman, I do remember the first show, or the first Elk show I did security at. He was on the card, and he did stick out the most to me that show. Like, this guy is awesome. So yeah, you definitely see it.
My last ever show as a fan at that Brew City Wrestling Rise to Honor 14, Marman against Aesop Mitchell in a I think it was beard versus hair or something. but it ended with Marman shaving Aesop, and it was funny because Aesop went from having super long hair the first time I ever met him as a fan, and from that day forward, I've always known him inside the business, and he's always had short hair. So there's a little tidbit.
All right.
First
No,
impressions aren't always the last impressions.
I feel like whenever Mario does come back, I want to be there for that first show. I don't know what show it is. I mean, I try to stay in touch with Mario. He called me out. I asked him for some advice, and he's like, "Hey, bro, you could text me and say how's your life." So like I've been trying to be really good about staying in touch with him, just because he's a guy who is one of those that like appreciates those random texts out of nowhere. Like, you know, there's those guys you shoot text to and like you're like, oh, they probably don't give a they don't give a shit. Like he'll actually start that conversation. So I would love to be in the crowd. Not sure when it is, but whenever Mario comes back, I would love to just sit in the crowd and listen, see everyone's face.
Yeah.
Because like I feel like Mario has that type of presence, and especially in Milwaukee, that when he comes out, a lot of people are gonna be super pumped.
Yeah.
And I just hope it's not announced that he's coming out. I just hope it's a surprise. I hate when someone's been gone forever and they announce like returning this Saturday. Like, don't do that. Let it be a surprise.
Yeah. That'll be a good pop when he comes back. Much deserved.
I understand like why you would announce though. For like on the promoter side, that's a ticket seller right there. But as a fan side, I don't want it being announced.
Yeah. It's like, risk and reward, I guess. Who knows?
Good question, though. I love that question.
Yeah, that was
that's-
definitely outside the box question.
He was on top of his game today.
Yeah. Thanks for the props, Perch. I appreciate it.
yeah, almost makes us forget you just didn't read the second half of my text.
See, I told you I could work on the fly.
Like, we'll see. Yeah. You'll probably have to prove that this weekend.
I have a question because
Yes.
I'm watching it right now. What did you guys think of the drum match?
Oh, I mean, it was a good match.
I remember one thing from that match, and that's when Apollo took a nasty bump on the stairs. That hurt my shoulder just looking at it. So, yeah. But yeah, that's all right.
I was hoping they would use a drum somewhere.
Yeah, the match stip didn't make sense, or the match name stipulation didn't make sense, but at least we still got a good match.
You know, I'm watching it right now. I was proud when that dude made his debut. I can't think of his name. I apologize for that, but just Apollo getting his moment was awesome.
Yeah.
Especially when Apollo's been pushed around so many years behind, and now like he got his moment.
Yeah, good to see. Definitely deserved it. Putting in that work.
Rewatch Mania.
Yeah, I like hearing stories of Mania. It was the first WrestleMania that I was not sitting there really attentively watching. However, all the Manias in the past did for me have the presence of, whether I was with my family or out and about with people who maybe didn't watch wrestling. There was always the, hey, but we may get to see Taker come out, and that would always get the rile of, if I was at my brother's house, we could always get it on one of the TVs, if not my iPad. Hey, the Taker could be coming up here next. Okay, we'll stick around for so many years. That was the case,
Yeah.
and we'll see if something becomes that element again. But that's something that I certainly miss. But we honor it by carrying out best we can with pro wrestling, because moments like Undertaker can be created by any one of us. Just takes a lot of hard work.
Yep.
That's a great way to take it home. Just leave it with Taker.
Yep. All right. On that.
Dude, when Taker was on the bike, you get to see the Harley come out. Yeah, that would move the needle.
All right. Yes, we'll leave it on Biker Taker. That's appropriate. On that note, this has been the Take It Home podcast. Y'all be easy. 1.
Yeah.